Welcome back. As mentioned, our guest today is Jason Haddock, principal of Washington County Christian School. Thanks for being our guest today.
Thank you for having me.
Jason, just recently we started working with you and with Washington County Christian, trying to tell the world about what you do.
Yes.
Let's start with the nuts and bolts. When did Washington County Christian start? How did it start? Give us a little background.
Washington County Christian School began in 1995. The Christian school that was currently serving this area moved, and the parents in Chipley was looking for a place here and came together and formed a nonprofit board that built Washington County Christian School on the foundation of Jesus Christ and the Word.
Wow, I didn't know that there had been a pre-existing Christian school. So what you're saying is that there was a school, it went away for whatever reason, and you had a group of people didn't want to let that go. So you started Washington County Christian. How did that come about?
The parents joined together and formed a nonprofit organization and built Washington County Christian School, ran by that group of parents, and today that is still in place.
So unlike public schools, where you have a superintendent of schools and you've got a school board and you've really got a very large political machine, with a private school, Washington County Christian or any other private school, the rubber meets the road right there at the school. You've got a board, but it's for only that school, so you have a lot more direct control of what goes on in that school. I can see where that would be an advantage.
Exactly. That 7-member board directs me in running that school. And yes, parents have total involvement, just as in making those decisions by working with their board member.
Now, what's your history, Jason? Educational background, just a little thumbnail sketch, and how you got involved, and obviously a prestigious but certainly extremely volatile position as principal. In so many situations, as principal of a school, you're darned if you do, darned if you don't, many times. And I would imagine you've got a pretty good board, especially after this many years. But give us a thumbnail sketch about your educational background.
I do have a supportive board. You're right, Paul. My background, I had been teaching in a preschool setting, served in a VPK program myself when I was petitioned to come work at Washington County Christian School and its inception. Stepped on board as a kindergarten teacher, enjoyed it, and still do today, with desire to be back in the classroom working with those students. And the board asked me to serve on the loss of the administrator as their administrator. And going back to biblical times, as little David was being called to serve, to fight the giant within himself and within his means, there was a protocol. There was a certain armor that he needed to wear and do as those around him felt that it needed to be. Same with me. I didn't feel I was equipped to be the administrator of that school. But I just said, yes, Lord, if you equip me, I will do. And to this date, I've been amazed at God's ability to give you what you need to do the job that He has called you to do. And that's exactly where my background has come today. I went on to work on my education and business administration, and I'm there to serve. I'm there to serve the people and do whatever it needs to be done to see Washington County Christian School succeed for many families to come in this area.
Our pastor never misses an opportunity to reinforce the fact that God will never ask us to do more than we can handle.
Exactly.
Will never put more burden on us than we are equipped to be able to handle.
Exactly.
And give us those tools to do so. Interesting. So you started off in kindergarten and dealing with those younger children, which that's got to be exciting. Being able to get those kids when they're still formative, when they're still like sponges, that has got to be one of the best times to work with kids. That and probably in the high school years, because in that middle time, it scares the daylights out of me.
Yes, Paul. I reflect back to the times that I was teaching K-5, and those students in the afternoon during center time. We didn't have naps, but I had center time in the afternoon, and they would beg me, Mr. Haddock, can we do more work? Can we do more work? Just the excitement and the zeal of wanting to learn. And that mind is like a sponge, ready to absorb what is laid out. And I guess that's where Christian school steps in. The standards and the academics that is such a high level Some would be skeptical and say they're not ready to learn that. They don't have the abilities to absorb that materials that's being laid out to them, but they desire to. And at that young age, that mind is soaking it up, so to speak. So in that environment that we have in Christian education, we lay that out for them, and those students take hold of it.
Just as when a young child has no constraints and knows no boundaries, you as a private school, you can try stuff. You can do what works. And you can fish where the fish are, because when you see that particularly gifted kid, you give them more encouragement. And when you have that child that maybe has a little bit of problem with learning, you give them more encouragement. So instead of taking the whole class and saying, slow down, kids, we got to wait for Jimmy, well, now you can break that kid out, you can give him special attention, or deal with it in any way that you want to. Again, that works. You're not governed by this paramilitary organization that's saying, hey, Jason, you can't do that. So that's got to be exciting for you.
Exactly, and that is what works, that consistency of that program. The curriculum that we use has been in operation for more than 50 years, and it's built for a child from 3 years to 12th grade. And by being consistent in that program, it makes a difference in those children. And you're right, the standard, we hold it high. It is difficult for some, but what we encourage and stand behind and push that child to pull up to where the others are running. And I think that is true, Paul. Too many times we back down so that all can succeed at the lower level. And that is something we've held true to since '95 at Washington County Christian School, is to not lower the standard by any means, but to strive to pull the lowest performer up.
And because you do handle kids from K through 12, lots of challenges when you are dealing with that huge span of ages, because at certain times, because of hormones or because of whatever activity, you've got certain huge changes in these groups of kids. Sure. But what's exciting to me is you mentioned the other day that you had just graduated somebody from the high school portion of Washington County Christian.
Sure we did. We had 2 graduates this year. It was very exciting for us. And to mention a family, and I think that's the way we have operated always at Washington County Christian School, as a family unit. And I try my best to have all of the students involved with one another, the older students working with the younger, and being involved, and it makes a difference. It makes a difference in those kids. Yes, there are times that they have to be separated, and learning portions being massively different, but them being able to work and interact with one another makes a huge difference in those kids, and we've seen that in our family involvement at Washington County Christian School.
What is your average enrollment? How many kids do you usually see K through 12 at Washington County Christian?
For the past 8 years, we've been averaging 150 students.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
So in conversation, we discussed the fact that as kids get into the middle school and certainly the high school years, they're looking for more of that social interaction, and so you have a tendency for some of those kids to go to public schools. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Beginning in grades 5 through 12, those students bleed out and go back into public school. And we do have students that bleed back into us, and people that come out of public school and into private education that are looking for a different alternative. And certainly we do. We have students that go both directions.
How large a staff? Faculty, administration, all the way down to maintenance. How many folks does Washington County Christian employ? In
the course of a school year, we employ 15 to 20 staff members, according to enrollment and the needs of the school.
So, economically speaking, you're definitely a good business partner to the county. That's a medium-sized business, and in this economy, it's a stable and strong business. Challenges. Economically, we're looking at a perfect storm. We've got weather problems, we've got economic problems and real estate problems. That's got to affect, to some extent, the folks who are paying to get their kids into a private school, Washington County Christian being certainly not immune to that. Have you seen that affect your enrollment?
Yes, we have. Families that have been dedicated to Washington County Christian School and Christian education in their family for years are having to make hard decisions in the economic times and pull away. And it's been hard. It's been very difficult for those families as well as us. But we're here. we're here and stable, and we believe we're here to the end.
Well, and not to speak for you, but I would imagine that has made you get creative.
Sure.
Have scholarship opportunities, have opportunities for sponsorships. What is there any of that in place?
Sure, Paul. For years, we stood clear of governmental support, standing clear of red tape, and being regulated as into what curriculum and quality of education that we would teach. But over the course of the years, we have begun to accept some scholarship programs for students transferring out of a public institute into private education, and alternative learning within the classrooms. We do have some DVD programs that we run for the older students. Also, we're a virtual school site where our students can participate in Florida Virtual School as well. So yes, we have begun to get creative and techno-friendly, so to speak, for our students as well.
It's a two-edged sword. It cuts both ways. Being a private facility, you're not beholden to a lot of the red tape, as you pointed out, but at the same time, you've got challenges in resources and funding. I looked at your fee schedule, and it's about what to be expected. People pay a tuition, but there's a lot more that comes after that if somebody wants to be involved in some of the extracurricular activities, just as in a public school. Interesting thing in public school now, it's not an unusual thing for parents to be expected to provide pencils and paper and rulers and crayons and all of this sort of thing. And then all the way up through the high school years, they're continually hammered to contribute, to provide, some of which I took for granted when I was in public school. I would imagine that that's a big part of your program to make it work economically.
Actually, our program, standing on the basis of consistency, as part of our fee schedule, we do provide all of the supplies for our students to keep it consistent, that everybody has the same thing. I guess that's going along the same edge as dress code and wearing uniforms, so that there's not a student that has something of better quality than another. And it keeps it consistent with the teacher asking for those products within that classroom. So we have done that. As far as academics and extracurricular, we do, just as a public school, have to call for parents to step up to the plate, to either pay extra fees for those, or we get out in our community and raise funds just as well to support those extra activities for our students.
I went to Catholic school, went to private school prior to high school, and I was very fortunate because I got an exemplary education, very strong in obviously the religious part of the curriculum, but certainly in the math and the Palmer method of penmanship. I still have carpal syndrome from making my O's and my P's and my Q's, but grammar, vocabulary, languages, very, very strong. Now, the offset was that we didn't have sports. Until high school, in the area I grew up in the Northeast, the private schools, sub-high school level, did not offer sports, and they weren't real strong in the sciences. I don't imagine that's the case anymore. I would imagine you've got a pretty full curricula. Is that correct?
Our curricula is thorough and full. Yes, we have science labs as well, offering chemistry and biology, where the students do participate in a full lab. As far as sports, that is our challenge. Within our area, that is important to families and the teamwork, but we encourage our students to participate in City League sports. We do offer middle and some middle school level basketball and other extracurricular sports that we're trying to participate in, and plan on the future to grow in those areas. But that is our challenge, and that is the area, the reason for the loss of students in high school level, those students wanting to participate in those activities. But you're right, we stand on academics, very important. We began cursive handwriting, as you spoke of, at 4 years old. So academics is our strong point. We offer a dual enroll program for our senior high students too, so that many of those students can be finished with at least one to pushing 2 levels of junior college when they graduate from Washington County Christian School as well. So I guess you have to weigh the balance out there as to what you want, and academics is going to have to take reign at this point.
Would it be fair to say that you stay fairly organic? That is, you're able to change over time as you see things morph that you need to change, and also that you have the ability to make those changes because of the fact that you are self-contained.
Sure, exactly. We'll grow with the needs and desires of our families, and when they're willing to support those things, that is exactly what we do. We strive to service them in that area.
Our youngest of 4, who is now 26, when he was in the 4th and 5th grade, he was getting pulled out of regular classes because they considered him gifted. So he was taking computer classes, but he was flunking his reading and his writing. Didn't make a lot of sense to me. And when I had a parent-teacher meeting, I expressed that, and I was told basically to mind my business because they had their way of doing things. And so we definitely had a prayer meeting, and we were able to straighten it out. But it didn't make sense to me to be yanking a kid out of the 3 R's to learn how to work on a computer. Certainly not denigrating the value of learning anything to do with technology, but if you don't have the basics, and the power goes out, you need to be able to read that newspaper and not see it online. Do you have a pretty good balance between technology and the 3 R's?
We're trying our best to integrate technology within the learning program. We participate in programs offered by our district and PAEC as well, trying to integrate that technology within the classroom, helping the students to use what they have, their iPods and their computers and laptops as well within that. Have they made it all the way into the classroom? Every student bringing their laptop? Not quite there yet, but it looks like the future is headed that direction, and we're willing to help those students achieve those goals as well.
Recently, I had the honor of being a judge at the Tropicana, sponsored by 4-H, the Tropicana Public Speaking Competition. Washington County Christian had an inordinate number of kids when you look at the enrollment of the private school versus the enrollment of the entire public school system. Huge number of participants from Washington County Christian, and they all did quite well. That speaks volumes.
Yes, sir. They're required to participate.
Part
of their classroom curriculum, they have to participate in Tropicana speech and writing a speech, but they enjoy it. Those students enjoy the participation, and we've strived to do that over the years as our existence is participate in all the activities, spelling bee, and whatever that our community offers, that we have a show in it, and have our students to be a part of that, to be a part of our community.
We're talking about the nuts and bolts of Washington County Christian. I'd like to talk a little bit more about your challenges. Will you stick around for the second half?
Yes, sir.
And thanks for being our guest today.
Thank you.
You're watching Real Florida TV. Today our guest has been Jason Haddock, principal of Washington County Christian School. If you're someone you know would like to be a guest on the show, or maybe there's something you'd like to see featured, just give us a call, drop us an email, or visit our website at realfloridatv.com. We'll be right back with more from Real Florida TV.